Since I had my first console, I wanted to work in game development. And here I am, 31 years old, making games for 12 good years. Since I realized that the world is a bigger place, I wanted to leave my country and go explore the rest of the globe. And here I am, moved in 2015, living in Barcelona, Spain. Since I accepted I'm gay at 21, I wanted to find a soulmate. And here I am, married, together with my husband, for more than 9 years. Sounds good, right? However, at the same time, being 31 now, I still struggle with my weight, going from losing 20 pounds in 3 months to gaining 30 pounds back in 6 months. I mismanage my finances, satisfying endless hunger of buying tons of crap, and I can't cope with basic adult functions, such as cooking or keeping a tidy and organized house. This video is my personal story of a struggle to be happy, balanced, more productive. I want to share my path with you, and I can only hope that you will find it helpful. The first step in getting better is actually identifying what is halting your success and happiness. And I thought it would be easy, but it took me months and weeks to actually look at myself in the mirror and figure out what is it that I'm missing, what do I need to change. Please get yourself comfortable and listen to the story of how much I suck and what I do to actually be better. I've never been able to develop self-discipline if the results were relying on consistent and long-term effort and controlling my own desires. I always failed miserably. Whenever I set goals for myself, it's focused on achieving end result. I set extremely ambitious, practically unachievable goals. I push myself to get through it by applying enormous effort. I could only focus on one thing at a time because of how much mental energy it takes not to slip up. The moment I start thinking about something else or any large events are happening to me, such as moving between countries, a series of interviews that require preparation, or just a vacation, I'm not able to continue focusing on that one thing and I stop doing it completely. The only thing that I'm succeeding at is my career. And that because I don't have to build a system. It already exists. You come to the office, you do the job, you go home. You have the schedule, you know your goals. It's clear and enjoyable for me. But the moment pandemic started, that's when I really struggled to be at my most productive while working. Because now building the system is on me. It's easy to get distracted, easy to think that you could do it later, and days go by with me not achieving anything. After 2 years working from home, I'm accepting that it's something that I have to fix. To improve my discipline, I need to learn how to build the systems that will enable me to consistently do little steps towards my goals. Aim for the effort, not for the result. If I do something diligently for 30 minutes every day, it is inevitable that I'm getting better at it. And this is the ultimate goal for me now. Getting better every day. Not comparing myself to others, but rather compare to myself yesterday, a month ago, a year ago. That's what matters. To help my work situation, I'm trying to be more aware of time, populate and prioritize my to-do list every morning, block out schedule slots to be focused on specific tasks, and use Pomodoro technique to keep my attention throughout the day. I've created the schedule for every day of my life, dividing all the time between the things I want to do. The point here is to actually follow it precisely, and if I can't, take notes and adjust the schedule to be realistic. Then review the schedule weekly to see if it actually helps achieving my goals. To train the discipline, I started waking up at 6:40 am 5 months ago, and I'm going to bed 10 p.m. to guarantee 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. I make my bed in the morning, I never skip following a morning routine or a bedtime routine. As the time goes, this should help me to build the discipline and the habits I'm looking for. I've struggled with being overweight and unhealthy since I was 10 years old. I was at my worst at 150 kilograms in 2016. I was at my best at 85 kilograms the next year. Yes, I almost lost half of myself in a year, but currently I'm 103 kilograms again and still working towards getting healthier. It follows the same pattern. I always focused on the number that I want to see on the scales instead of living a healthy and happy life. What I need is to aim to be more active every day and just don't eat too much sugar, so I spend more calories than I eat. Before, I would try extreme diets, keto, carnivore, fasting for 16 to 18 hours, or try extreme exercise, 90 minutes of intense strength training every day, or going to the swimming pool every evening. I liked those periods of my life because I had a strong sense of purpose and a will to do all these things, but it was never sustainable long term. You should be able to keep your healthy lifestyle while there are other things happening in your life, and I was never able to do so.
What is the reason that I want to lose weight? Previously, it was because of the social pressure, the looks, seeing other people on social media and thinking I could be like them. Now, I'm trying to break all these patterns. I want to lose weight so my heart doesn't need to work as hard, so my back and knees don't need to hold the pressure every day, to feel energized and strong, to walk 20 kilometers when I travel and feel good every morning the next day. I'm aiming at the effort, sustainability, and most importantly, having fun while doing so. I'm going for a walk every morning, and it either gives me time to listen to what's on my mind or to an audiobook. I'm doing strength exercise every day, but only a few sets with long breaks between them so I don't feel overwhelmed and stressed. I'm also doing a half an hour of high-intensity workout some days after work, but I make it really fun. I either just dance around my living room or jump with a rope. Where I allow myself a bit more slack is on the diet side. I try to avoid snacks and most of the sugar, but I still allow myself a croissant or a cookie here and there. What I hope to achieve over time is to slowly get to my healthy weight where I can feel great and not restrict myself too much while keeping up an exercise routine.
What is being an adult? What comes to mind is being autonomous and self-reliant. That probably includes some basic cleaning and cooking skills. I moved out of my mother's house 7 years ago, along the way moving to a completely different country and getting to live with my husband for the first time in my life. I definitely don't recommend doing so many changes all at once.
I never learned the value of cooking and the enjoyment of making myself or someone I love a meal. So I've been living for years on takeouts, food delivery and pre-made supermarket food. Doesn't really sound great combined with my struggle with weight. Neither did I ever learn to keep my home tidy. We put things all over the apartment, and combined with my buying frenzy at times, the house becomes a messy, disorganized storage instead of an efficient and beautiful place where I want to live. 7 years later, I'm only starting to learn how to actually cook a meal. I start little. I'm making scrambled eggs on toast every morning, and I love making a great latte. Sometimes I might even spice it up with avocado toast. Toast seems to be a pattern here. I actually learned that I really love to bake. I did a few cakes and pancakes and was a great fun. However, considering I don't have too many people to share it with, it seems like a self-sabotage, so I stopped it for now.
At the moment, I don't really think I have enough time to dedicate to cooking in the way that I would like to, so for now I'll just stick to breakfast and we'll see where the life will lead me.
When it comes to my house, recently I did a huge decluttering and organized everything to the best of my ability. Next step is to keep it that way, sell some items that I don't need, and be very mindful about how I organize my space.
Again, this is something I tried many times in my life before, but never with such a clear goal in mind. So I have a really good feeling that it might just work this time. I'm a very impulsive person. The time between me thinking about something and actually doing it tends to zero. I often forget to consider the consequences, weigh all pros and cons. I react immediately and act promptly afterwards.
It affects my life decisions that have long-lasting consequences. I might think one day that I'm going to start something new and I will do it for 3 years, but 3 days later it makes absolutely no sense. This also causes a huge issue with my spending behavior. Whenever I want something, I buy it without considering how it will affect my finances. Do I actually need it, and where do I put this new item among tons of crap that I already own? This had led me to a lot of poor decisions and prevented from accumulating any considerable savings throughout my life. To break this behavior, I am beginning my path to minimalism. I am considering pros and cons for literally everything that I buy and try to avoid any new purchase unless it's absolutely necessary. It's really challenging and exaggerated at this stage, but I feel that I first need to lean on the extreme control side to learn how to implement this behavior in my daily thinking process.
Once I start making more thoughtful and rational decisions about my purchases, I hope that I can extend it to other areas of my life. Side projects and passion projects. It is so difficult to follow through consistently on something that seemingly has no results, but at the same time takes away all your free time. If you want to dedicate 10 to 20 hours to something on top of your full-time job, your exercise, your time spent with family and friends, it likely means that you have almost no time to just relax or do anything you like. I tried streaming, creating various content, making games, writing articles, but all my beginnings were crushed by my inability to do something long-term.
You can't expect yourself to be productive 100% of the time. You have to make trade-offs. So far, the only times I was able to keep up with my side projects was to reduce my productivity during work hours and have some time to relax there. At some point in my life, I had to work 2 full-time jobs at the same time. Gladly, both were remote. I woke up at 3 in the morning, worked one job, switched to another at 10 in the morning, stopped working at 6 p.m., exercised for an hour, and went to sleep at 7 p.m. But you don't really live, you exist. You don't perform, you barely function. If you don't give any time to your mind to relax, inevitably it will perform worse across all activities.
This YouTube channel, it's my passion that allows me to express myself. It is currently a side project with a chance of becoming my main focus in some distant future. But to be honest, I'm not sure how I will manage it yet. I promised myself that I will dedicate at least 10 hours a week to creating videos and focus only on essentials. I need to learn how to prioritize the most impactful thing. As it goes, 20% of efforts produces 80% of the results. And if I want to learn something and post new videos consistently, I have to figure out how to make a video in 20 hours.
In the beginning, I wanted to post on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, but since I had to realize that I need to focus on what matters most and only then consider the alternatives.
For me, what matters most is to be able to create meaningful content that will help at least someone out there to get better every day. So this is my main focus. This is what I'm doing. Everybody wants to live a rich life that consists of fulfilling job, great social circle, variety of hobbies, and a loving family. But I often find myself being able to concentrate only on one thing at a time. And when I say at a time, I don't mean today or in this moment, more like in this month or even a year. And yeah, you can achieve great results in whatever that one thing is, but you lose everything else.
I am living in Spain for 6 years now, and I am ashamed to say that I almost don't speak any Spanish. It was never that one thing that I concentrated on, so I made almost zero progress towards learning a language of the country that I'm living in. That doesn't make any sense. Same goes for staying healthy, exercising, sleeping well. There were periods when I did that, and there were periods when I completely neglected it, all due to the same reason of focusing on something else. If anyone wants to live a balanced life, this is no way of living it. I should be able to exercise, learn a new language, spend time with my husband and friends, work, read books, have fun, work on my YouTube channel, all at the same time. One thing that I started doing recently is following schedule. But adding things to schedule, while might seem limiting to most, is actually liberating to me. If before I had to find time and remind myself to meditate, study Spanish, read a book, write a journal, now I'm doing all of it just by following colored boxes on my calendar. It's like magic.
I am yet to figure out how to live my weekends. Do I go all in on Saturday on my side projects and then just relax on Sunday? Do I go all in on both days and live the full miserable experience? Or maybe I should try to find the balance between work and pleasure on both days and then adjust as needed. Life always changes. I actually don't know anyone who's having the same issue, but out of 8 billion people, there must be someone, right? I'm always waiting for something. It could be a vacation, a promotion, a job interview, the next race of Formula 1, or something as simple as a dinner with my friends.
The time of waiting varies, but if I have the race on Sunday, it's hard to focus on anything else, and I could easily procrastinate until the event I'm waiting for happens. You would think it's not a big deal, but there are 22 races this year that might harm me in 22 out of 52 weekends. That's more than 40% of the weekends, and that's just Formula 1.
Waiting for a vacation, or if I get an offer or not, could last for weeks and not let me concentrate at all during this time. And there is even a bigger issue related to that. I'm not able to live in the moment, and I can't enjoy the journey towards anything. I only focus on the final result and not satisfied with anything less.
Losing weight? Yeah, I'll be happy when I achieve my dream body. Doing a good job? Yeah, I'll be happy when I get the next promotion. That toxic thinking not only prevents you from being happy now, in reality, you're never happy. Reaching an end goal of anything gives you some satisfaction for a day, and then it leaves you either empty since there are no more goals, or worse, you don't enjoy it at all because you already want the next thing.
This too are not easy to solve, but they come from the same place. Not being able to live in today and not appreciating what I have. I'm always waiting for something that comes next. It will require me to change my mindset completely. But what I noticed is that focusing on the several smaller things is helpful, and focusing a little bit more on the short term is helpful too, because it kind of grounds you in the moment. It makes you think, what can you do today? What can you do tomorrow? Like those little steps that eventually will lead you to a bigger goal. Something else that I started recently is actually the meditation. It kind of helps you clear your mind and grounds you in the moment. And this is exactly what I need right now. I struggled with focus throughout my whole life. I've always been a person with an attention span of not even a child, but a puppy. I think it got worse as my job progressed from an individual contributor role to a more of an ad hoc problem solver role, a kind of visionary, which benefits from being everywhere at the same time, helping everyone, setting direction, answering questions, and not really from focusing on one thing for a long period of time.
While I'm being self-aware, this one is far from easy to solve. It's a compulsive behavior of seeking instant gratification from any available source, and it takes a giant amount of effort to control yourself. The only way to relearn how to focus is to force yourself to keep focusing for longer periods of time, minimize distractions, and develop a habit of it.
I hope the more times I get to be focused on something, the easier it will become. From one side, you just keep telling your brain that this is how you focus, and you keep doing it repeatedly. But from another side, you're also telling your subconscious self that you can focus. You're breaking that notion that you are the person who has a short attention span. I was never trying to resist this before and never tried to really change this behavior, so I hope this time it will actually work. Throughout my whole life, I always aspired to read more books, discuss difficult and provocative topics, begin new and challenging activities. But it is one thing to desire it and another to actually follow through with it.
I'm always excited to read a new book, but the moment I begin, I start losing focus, thinking about other things, and end up reading it for 15 minutes only. Then it takes a few days before I collect myself to put away everything else and get to the book again. Same pattern repeats for a few weeks, and then a break of a few days becomes longer and longer, and I completely forget about the book altogether. It's always easier to become complacent and watch some new TV shows or even YouTube content that feels educational, while in reality it doesn't add anything new to my life.
What we should do is to read books and watch content that challenges us, that affects our behavior, makes us think, makes us look at the world differently, that gives us ideas of how to improve our lives, or at least an opportunity to try something new. We should strive to be students forever, learning new skills, new languages, new philosophies, new ways of thinking, even religions.
The action plan is simple. Constantly search for new information, challenge yourself, keep learning. In practical terms, we need triggers and environment that makes it easy to learn. Once again, following a schedule helped me dedicate time to reading and learning a new language consistently. Also, I've created a list of books that I want to read, and I keep adding new recommendations almost every day. That way, it's much easier to choose the next book to read.
Oof, that seems like a lot of things I've struggled with my whole life. I slowly figured them out one by one as I was reflecting on my life and my choices. But this is the first time I really structured everything that I've struggled with and painted the picture of my future self that I would like to be. Will it take me a year, 5 years, my whole life? Who knows? But I encourage you to do the same. Look at yourself critically. Analyze the decisions that you're making. How do they impact you, your life, your loved ones? Write everything down and try to plan a solution for each issue individually. Maybe don't try to solve 10 things at once, like I'm trying to do here, or maybe do. The choice is yours. But in the meantime, remember this. Don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself today to yourself yesterday. And now make an effort so that you're not disappointed with that comparison tomorrow.